Hi, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself on the show this evening is one of the Port's finest tonics, Port Bear, and the legend who is the Bridgeman. Good evening,
and
guys.
Who are you? And who are you?
I'm the man from the south side.
Well done.
Aye, good success. Aye, good mate. Aye, very good mate. Thank you. Enjoying this. Enjoy watching this Rangers team develop, if I'm totally honest, mate.
Aye. Brilliant, mate. Isn't it? Bridge, how are you feeling this Monday?
Fantastic. I watched a smashing game. I've really enjoyed the game the weekend there, and the place was mobbed. It was just mobbed. It was wonderful to see. Really good game, really hot, and I thought it was excellent. Excellent fare by Rangers. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, in particular Rangers fans on here on Rangers Radio, every single one is good evening. Welcome to Rangers Radio.
Aye, Bridge, just to let you know, I think by the end of September all your old notes have got to go back into the bank if you want them.
Oh, my old notes.
Your old notes. You've got a few weeks yet, Bridge.
Are we getting? Is it we're going paperless and going to plastic? Is that what it is?
No. Just if you're getting the old banknotes, it's underneath your floorboards. You'll need to get them done.
We searched the house when we were leaving that last place.
I bet you were.
In case I forgot where I'd put it.
Port, it's no that. He's got a new safe in that new house, right?
Oh my God.
And Mrs. Bridge, in case you couldn't remember the combination, he's actually doing it by his eyelines now. That's how he owns it. Anyway, Port, what did you think Saturday? At the game, I'd predicted 2-0, right? As you know, I thought it might have been a wee bit harder after the European game. We always wanted a 4 or 5 or a 3, whatever it is, more than I predicted. But did you see it being a 4-0 game, Port, as the game went on?
I predicted it in the pre-show, mate, and I predicted it Thursday night when I was on as well.
Did you? Right.
I could see it, mate. Only because, as you know, I'm doing wee bits and bobs for the show in regards to scouting my teams and that now. So I've been watching them, mate. So I sort of seen whether a lot of their weaknesses were. I watched them against Annan and Queenie South, but they beat them in the early cup rounds. So I thought, if we played to our capability, mate, we could get that amount of goals off them. But I understand where you're coming from. I did expect a tough, sticky match like I predicted in Port's report. That they would be able to try and do their usual, play a destructive type of football, mate, to stop Rangers playing. But they never succeeded, mate, which was a good quality side to see at weekend, mate.
Aye, Bridge, I thought, we only 1-0 up at half time, and I thought the way the second half was gone, it probably wasn't until the introduction of the subs, but getting the 2 end goals. But I did think it might have petered out to a 2-0. I didn't exactly see us getting the 4 on the day just because the way the game was going.
It was quite slow in the first half, but it was methodical, if you follow me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. Some part, they actually, when they got the ball, that team, they actually played not too bad football. So I'll take my hat off to them for that. But it never actually bothered us too much. We gave ourselves a couple of wee frights. Some half chances came up and they missed them. I thought our goalkeeper was a bit unsteady initially, but he came right onto it. And the rest of the team, there's a lot of the guys in the first half were still trying to find their legs, to be perfectly honest with you. Ryan Jack, for instance, he played marvellous stuff. And did he get taken off or did he get his 90 at it?
No, he played his 90 minutes.
Yeah. Now that's magic, because a lot of people were very concerned about him with the injury. But I know, seriously, you're right. When the second half started, I thought, wait a wee minute, there was murmurs in the Scotland Road area where I was, and they were saying, it's time to get somebody on. And we saw the boys out getting warmed up. And when they came on, within seconds, the game was transformed. You had a bit of tempo in the game, a bit of pace, and a bit of knowledge, and what a difference it made. Marvellous stuff. Great to watch. What a great team that is. Great team.
I think the effort and the sort of pace that we started off at in the first half, especially that heat, Port, walking down to Ibrox was bad enough, never mind running about, but I thought we kept a sort of decent tempo. I just thought we might have added one extra or that in the first half, but for all the play, I thought we had some good performances in shape in the first half, the way Tav and Borna were getting down the wings.
I think if you think on, obviously the weather, mate, the other day, that's draining for both teams, in particular with the tempo and the start that we had, mate. Which I was surprised. I did ask for that. I said, if we can get the second half against Union, if we can start that in the first half, Southside, and blow teams away, get it over and done with the first half. Let's go and finish these teams off in the first half. I wanted the second half, the same sort of start for the Union match. I wanted that on Saturday. I wanted it immediately. So it was good to see that, mate. Rangers coming out of the blocks. The tempo, the application, the attitude from you on every player. And, I'm going to give you a bit of special praise, mate, to John Lundstrom. I think he dictates a lot. The way, he snaps into tackles and, dictates his style of play on our team and their team. So I think, he's rubbing off on a lot of players, mate. A lot of leaders in that pitch, and I think it's showing off on our team.
I agree, Port. I think Bridge, I heard there was a few rumblings round about me because we weren't one goal up after 30 minutes, and we sort of huffed and puffed at wee bits. We worked it well. There was just no wee bit of cutting edge at the final bit until obviously in the 32nd minute when Tillman scores a cracking goal, set up between Scott Wright and Taft's cross. But I thought I was surprised people were getting frustrated. I mean, you've got to accept the heat as well on Saturday, Bridge, but I thought the way we worked to goal eventually, we moved them about, we kept moving them about, and eventually we got a good chance to work a cross in,
Yeah, I think if we saw the possession for the first half alone, I don't think we were surprised. I can't remember the figures, but we would have been easily 70 to 80% possession in the first half. It was all Rangers, and we were moving the ball about very, very well. We just couldn't get through. That's the only thing that was wrong, which, may I say, this happens to a lot of games, doesn't it, that? We just can't get through. So that's all that was. The second half made a difference. The thing changed. I'd like to say, yes, I agree with Portbear on the John Lundstrom thing. I think he's a mighty, mighty signing for the Glasgow Rangers. A mighty signing. And I think that boy, Ben Davies, his first start, my goodness gracious, he showed what he can do. And he wasn't without starring, but I thought he had a very good game and no problems at all. And well done to him. Because that's his longest he's played football for a wee while, I think, So it's quite difficult. I like him.
I think he got on the ball, passed it forward. In the first half, he went forward to quite a bit into midfield, and unfortunately, a couple of times he got passed back to him. But then he was quick again to knock it forward again. Port, I thought the only thing that alarmed me when I seen it later was when the cross ball came in. They had a wee chance. Actually, I think Borna might have thought he was going to get it, and it sort of hit off him. And then the boy was on the deck by then, and he nearly stuck it in the net in the first half.
I think what happens there, mate, if I'm Borna Barisic, I'm screaming for that, mate, because he's the last man, effectively, being the last guy on the back post. So he should be screaming, Ben Davies, get my road, because I'm taking a whole lot of that. And I think that wee bit of indecision, just getting to know each other. I think, obviously, Ben Davies, he's caught under it, but Borna should have been in the first place, mate. Davies' positioning maybe could have been better, and he should have been caught under the ball either, but I'm just being a wee bit critical there that he's defending in his position, I suppose. But what I did think Ben Davies allowed, mate, I think Ben Davies allowed Borna to thrive. And what I mean by that is by adding balance and a natural left footer on Borna's side, he was constantly rolling the ball to Borna. I think confidence between him and Borna and the understanding was growing throughout the game. Because if you watch when James Sands is playing in that role, he always comes in right and forgets about Borna. But Davies always looked for him. He looked for Matondo, he looked for Borna the whole game, and the understanding got better as the game went on, mate.
The difference, can I just say that?
Yeah.
And of course, Port Bell, I really liked her summing up in that wee bit there. That it just showed you the difference with a left-sided centre half, a natural left-footed, and a left back. And yes, everything you said there about the wee bit balance and interchange and things like that. It's far easier for a left-sided player, left-footed player, to pass a ball out in the wing to the left. Far easier if he's left-footed. But if you've got somebody that's right-footed, it's quite difficult because you're trying to pace yourself, you're trying to do a million things in your head, and it's unnatural to kick with the ref, and you end up turning and trying to go right, or even straight on, it's difficult. And I have to say, anybody that is not left-footed and plays the left side of the centre-half pairing with Rangers is going for a hard time, a really hard time, because they will naturally create that imbalance. Unless, of course, they're right out in the wing and they can easily pass the ball to the left back with the right foot. Other than that, they will struggle. Well said, Ford there.
I think it's just a natural balance thing, Bridge. You're always going to take the ball onto your left-hand side. The left-sided sort of defender knocks it forward in front of Borner for to go into. But I thought, watching him in the first half, he did thread a lot of nice balls into midfield and sort of fizzed them in a wee bit. But it creates that whole different balance, I think, and that's what the difference. You're not having to shuffle his feet at any time, and try to get it onto his right foot. Bridge, everything was just, he took it across onto his left and just automatically played it. So you can see the balance is far better with a left-sided footed player in the team,
100%.
That's what I thought, Bridge,
100%.
It's just...
Sorry.
On you go.
No, please.
No, it was just what I was saying. Obviously, like we're saying, you're not having to move your feet to try and turn and play the ball across the park. On the right-hand side, you can't play the ball down the channel because your body's in the wrong shape and you're not going to get the angle usually. So that you just seen a big difference. We moved the ball quicker, I thought, for the back. No fault of Sands or Suter who's played in there, but it's just natural, Bridge, that they just knock it out left or knock it in the park, eh?
Indeed, it's natural, the shape of the body. When the ball's coming to you, you start to, no matter where you are in the pitch, you start to make sure you're going to get that ball and allow it to run towards your stronger side. That's only natural, If the ball manages to get to your weaker side, then you start to semi-panic up in your head, as we've seen a lot of Rangers players doing in the past. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of our Rangers players that played that side, but I thought Katic was put in the wrong position, but sometimes couldn't even kick the ball with his left foot properly. And I'm not being funny, as I say, no disrespect to him. Found himself in bad positions and gave away chances and gave away possession, obviously, simply because of that. And I think this boy Ben Davies he looks calm and collected on the pitch and on the ball, and he just lets the ball run across him dead easy. Now, obviously, he's got to watch what he's doing, because there's a lot of teams are hanging about, they're waiting to see what happens and so on and so forth. And he has to be absolutely full of his own confidence, and he knows what he's doing, and he looks the part.
I think it also opens up both sides of the pitch as well. Southside Bridgeman, it opens up, the two wings. So if you're not going short to Borner for him to go to Matondo, Ben Davies get that ability, because he's left-footed, to ping that ball like Connor does to Tavernier or Wright. Davies has got the same ability to ping it to Borner, or ping it straight to Matondo's feet, because 9 times out of 10 when like a Shooter or Katic has been in that position, like Bridge touched on, or even Sands, they've been looking for that diagonal out to the left. It's been out the park, isn't it? Because a right footer curling it outside, so it's going to 9 times out of 10 it ends up out the park, whereas Davies can whip it with his left and up and the inside channel. So I think that's what it opens the pitch for me, and it gives us good balance and good width on both sides.
Yeah, 100% right there, 100%. Because if the ball's coming to you, you've got the choice. Your body can be in a certain shape. You can turn left and just let the ball run through on your left foot, and you can do what you want because the pitch is yours. Or you can actually get the ball to your left immediately and just ping it to the right. It happens, and that guy's going to be a good player. So,
I think we've seen it when obviously Hollander came into the team as well.
Bang on, mate,
but he had a promising game and he done a lot of positives, and it's obviously more minutes that he's got. So it's all positive for that point of view for Ben Davies. I thought Port second half took us to roughly, I think it was about 62 minutes before we got the second goal. But I think we were unlucky. I think Matondo hit one off the crossbar. I think he had nice feet at the edge of the box. He was unlucky. I actually thought he was quiet in the first half, Port. I thought he didn't do much in the first half, if I'm honest.
I think it wasn't as lively, certainly, as it was the second half. And that shot you're talking about, mate, the direct running for that wee man, and he pace him. And he only created 2 yards for himself outside. He created 2 yards and crashed it with a beautiful curling shot off the bar. You know, it deserved to win. I'd love to have seen it busting it personally. But yeah, it started slow. But I was wondering, was it due to the new partnership on the left-hand side with, you know, Davis, Borna and Matondo, his first time playing on that right? I like the fact that he can play on the left, mate. It was good to see. He can be versatile. And then he can cut in on his right, on his stronger foot and have a pop like that. So it was good to see that as well. Maybe we just take a wee bit of time to get used to playing on the left, mate. I don't know if he's played there before.
I think he has. Well, not for us, I don't think, you know, but
Yeah.
I think he has played on the left. We're mentioning Borna there, Bridge. He was unlucky. He must have got a good view with a free kick just outside the box. He was unlucky. But I thought he did a really good game on Saturday, Bridge.
Yes, 100%. A really good game. I thought he was probably one of our better players in the first half alone. But he's able to move. I think it's all down to this confidence that between him and shall we say the left-sided centre half. But I still think he's huge weakness. He's got a huge weakness, and I don't know whether it's he doesn't like to go in and mix it too much. And the times that he was a number of times in the weekend there, he should have been in there telling Davis to beat it. This is my ball. Whatever he needs to do, or just go in and boot the ball away and worry about it afterwards. He kind of gets that hesitance in his game, and he lets it go. And as far as I'm concerned, the ball then can end up between them, or indeed a mistake can happen, and he's on his back, he's on his heels, and that's a problem. If you're not still running towards it, then if the ball breaks, you're not going to get that. You're going to be, and we've seen him a million times get himself stuck. So that's what he needs to watch out for when it comes to that. Other than that, I thought he had a tremendous game for us. Tremendous game.
I think you could say that about Port, about their defender for the second goal. The vision was right. He just didn't execute the pass properly, Tillman. And when the defender started running across the box, and I seen Matondo chase him, but it was good the way he slid in there. And I'll tell you what, the big man took one touch, turn, goal with a finish.
I tell you, mate, that's
finish. Wonderful.
When you think about Matondo, we asked all our teams to press from the front, and that's what we got at the weekend on Saturday. You know, Matondo chasing down defenders, gets a mistake with the defender, and the ball goes straight to Cholak. And on one move, mate, he turns on a 10 pence, bang, first touch, bang, finish. That's all you can ask for a striker, and that's 3-3 now, mate. That's 3-3. You can't ask for any more than that in a new striker at any club.
No, Port, I liked him. I mean, I was willing to give him a chance. I thought if he came with a record, he scores 1 and 2. The amount of chances that we create, if he had a decent run in the team, I know Alfie's going to have massive pressure on him, and Alfie might come in and take the spot. I don't know. Bridge, I'm just happy that he's hitting the net every week at the moment, and it gives him confidence, and you can see the delight. Thought it was great for Matondo to slide in the box. There's no many players I think I've seen ever do that. But the first touch in the turn, he just knows where the goal is. A penalty box striker.
Yeah, indeed. But I think with the greatest respect to the lad, I don't think Morelos is anywhere near ready to take over the role that boy's playing. He's doing a lot of chasing and harrying. It's just non-stop. And I don't think at the moment Morelos has got the legs for that. He's okay coming on for his 20 minutes or 25 minutes, and he looks not too bad. And every game he'll get stronger and stronger, and eventually there's going to be a real competition between those two. In fact, there's a lot of folk beside me saying they can't wait till Alfie's fit, and then the two of them, they stick two up front and see how they go on. That's what all the boys are saying.
I don't think that's going to happen. But Gio done a press conference and he was asked about it.
Yep.
And he said that basically said that he's never played with two strikers, and he said he would only do it if forced. That was his comment. So I think we'll be looking at the one striker up. You know,
yes, in general, but there's going to become a time that Alfie will be fit enough, be able to play, and so it's a choice between the two, or we play the two. And some guys says, "Oh, I should play the two. I'd like to see the two playing together." Simple as that.
Yeah, see the way I look at it, if you try to play Alfie in a 3 behind a 1, if you played Cholak as a 9, then you're looking to play Alfie where either in a Kent, Tillman or Matondo role, then you get him in the team, I don't see it. But anyway, I just think the big man, all you can do, Port, is keep scoring. And talking about somebody that keeps scoring, and he's been there for a wee while for us now, Scotty Arfield. I thought it was a great pass. I thought Ryan Jack Port played further up the park a bit, and it was a great pass to Matondo, and he just went round the goalie, and obviously the man's there in the box as we've always expected him to be. Arfield
again, mate. Matondo doesn't panic. Great run again. Takes out defenders, goes in a wee mazy, and coolly cuts it back, mate. No, it doesn't thrash, doesn't throw it across the goal. He cuts it back to Arfield. And Arfield, cool as you like, mate, just strokes it away. Doesn't thrash at it, doesn't lash at it, just knows where the net is and puts it away. He's becoming a right impact player for Rangers. I think that's what his role will be, if I'm totally honest now. Southside, I don't think, judging with Matondo and Tillman and that have started off, and then I think even maybe Lawrence, if I'm honest, maybe behind him. I think he's going to become a very experienced, go-to man. When you're looking for a goal, looking for that guy to offer something different from midfield, very late runs into the box, etc. But he just seems to ghost in and get goals for us. I think Arfield's a fantastic player, mate. He's got his use at Rangers.
Aye, I'll be honest. We did say he'll not play anywhere near the amount of games he has played, Bridge, but we all agreed that he will get game time, and he's got to in some of the games because of the squad we've got, and it's good to see him go off the mark again. 2 goals I think it is now he's got for us there. And Livy and now on Saturday, Bridge, yeah. So he's certainly not a bit part player, but he's an integral part that we need to get his goals, because we know that's what he does. He gets in the box, Bridge.
Well, the guy's, I think he's brilliant. I was a man cheering. I was myself cheering, but I'm not alone. I thought that it was a really good move by the manager to get him on an extension to the contract, and I thought that was great. And the same with McGregor, get him on an extended contract. These are really good moves because you get experienced people who can just walk onto the pitch. They know they're confident enough. They know the pitch. They know the fans and how the fans react to them. And I think that's great. I said this a couple of weeks ago. There's one, I think, now, in second thoughts, I think maybe it would have been a better idea to keep him for another year, was that Balogun, because we could maybe do with sort of central defensive cover. That's all I was thinking, But other than that, the team's great. Arfield, excellent performances. Can't beat it. But he's not going to be a 90-minute man for a game. I doubt very much if he's got it.
I think Balogun's been and seen it and done it, and I think if we'd wanted to keep him, we would have, but we've moved him on now, Bridge. I think we've got to just stick with what we've got. And
all of his meaning was...
I get
Arfield. It was a really good move by the manager
to
keep him.
I think he was... I think some people... I did think he might have left, to be honest, Bridge. I did think he might have, but no, he's there, he's coming on, and he's contributing, and that's the main thing for us, Bridge, Port, obviously, the man that you've tipped to be better than Joe Aribo, or score more goals than Joe Aribo. Tom Lawrence started the move, worked it well with Tav and Arfield. If I'm honest, I thought the defender should probably have been a bit tougher on the tackle to Arfield, but he done well and he crosses it, and who's there but your man, Tom Lawrence?
All you can do is ask them to be in the right places to put the ball in the net, or make that pass that creates the goal, gets assists. I think he showed against Union, particularly at Ibrox. For me, he ran the show that night, mate. If I'm totally honest, I thought he was excellent that night against Union, and he's again still not made the grade to get a start, but he comes off the bench, mate, and does what every good professional football should do, mate. Come on and have your impact. Put yourself in the manager's seat, mate. And that's all he can do. Just keep putting the ball in the net and keep putting, keep providing assists. Keeps on the rate he's at the new, mate. I think he'll do all right. I think he'll be pretty close.
Can I just ask you guys what you thought? I thought that young boy Scott Wright was getting targeted, and there was some hefty tackles against him. Even when he was running the byline, they were barging right into him and shoving him up doing the wee bray there. I think he needs a bit more protection. I don't know how we're going to get that, but he needs more protection. He's going to end up with a serious injury.
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll get the phone lines opened and we can maybe put that to the listeners if somebody would like to come in and agree with Bridge. I agree with you, Bridge. He takes a hefty tackle, but I think if it's all right with you guys, we'll get the lines opened and we'll see what the Bears. Hopefully the Bears will come in right and get a wee chat. So everything's positive at the moment. We've got a massive game tomorrow.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Can I flip that outside? Can I flip that? I think, and it's only an observation, right? If you think on Matondo, Tillman, Lawrence, they don't dwell on the ball. Southside, when they get receive the ball, they pass and they move, or they take the player on, or Matondo uses his pace to get away. Do you know what I found, which frustrated me the weekend? Wright gets caught on the ball too much. He dwells on it. He's just not as quick a thinking as, in my opinion, as Malik Tillman and Matondo. And this is how he's getting these tackles, guys. I think he draws fouls, which is great to get fouls on the edge of the box. But I think if he was as quick as speed of mind as the other two, Tillman and Matondo, he wouldn't get fouled so often. Because I thought his quality and his delivery stuff was poor the weekend, guys.
Well, I would disagree with you slightly, Port, right? I think Scott Wright, he might be right sometimes, dwells, right? But I think when he gets on the ball, he turns and goes and commits players. He'll turn, look at the guy at Livingston, for instance, on that park. You know, he took him out twice. He got took out in the European game as well. He got took out again at Ibrox last week against Kilmarnock. Johnston. I think he takes a bit of treatment. I think he done more than Matondo did in the first half, but granted, Matondo had a bigger impact. But I think he lets Tav go down the park better as well, Port.
Aye, it's because he comes in a bit narrow, doesn't he? He comes in half the line, doesn't he? It's not like Kent on the other side.
He recycled the ball for the corner on Saturday and gave it into Tav. Tav crossed it, Tillman.
Aye. No, I'm not saying it was just. It's a wee observation I've got in him throughout games, mate. I just think he gets caught on the ball for me just a wee bit too often. I would just like him to be a wee bit quicker, speed of mind to get the ball in a wee bit quicker, and he probably wouldn't get half the tackles he gets, maybe. You know what I mean?
I just think he's a bit unfortunate, Bridge. I think he goes forward. I think when you can go on the ball just inside of that, he runs it. He runs it the team. You know.
I think, in all honesty, I disagree slightly with poor Barrett. The boy's got right. Sometimes he does, in fact, dwell on the ball, and if it ends up falling over it or just about, and the ball's taken up quite easily sometimes. But there are times in the games when you watch him and the defenders are just hovering around about him, and as soon as he makes a wee break, they're going to chase him down and huckle him, and they will huckle him, and then they push him, they barge him. They just barge him away, and sometimes they go in double-footed tackle and things like that. But maybe to frighten him. But some of these days, my fear is he's going to get caught because he's got no protection. The referee could have pulled these guys up and booked them dead easy. Some of these fouls were just bad fouls and intense in it, but I just can't understand why he doesn't get any protection. But we're sitting at Ibrox there with all this big crowd here, and the referee isn't refereeing the game correctly. For me, when I see one of my players getting walloped, literally walloped, and then it's the same person wallops him again, and then somebody else takes a turn and wallops him. So he was getting that in the first half, and I think it's wrong. The referee should be doing his job, booking these players. Eventually he did. He booked a few of them. No, that's just not right. It's just not right. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No.
Disagree with you.
Where I will defend him, boys, is he doesn't hide. See, for the amount of rough treatment he does get, and I do admit he does get it, I think he's brave because he gets back up. He doesn't know about moaning. He gets back up. He's brave. So I will give him kudos there. He's a brave young man because he does get some rough treatment. But as I said, I just think if he was a wee bit quicker in decision making, he wouldn't get half the fouls he gets made on him.
No worries. I think we're being joined by Blue Star. How you doing, Blue Star?
Evening, Port, Bridge and Southside.
How we doing,
2 points. 2 points on the Morning Night's game, guys. The first one's pretty obscure. For me, the last time Ibrox against the Union mob, one of the things I found alarming, especially more so when I watched it back a second time, was the amount of times our players, now we were chasing the game, we needed 3 goals obviously, when it was still 0-0, the amount of times that they kicked the ball out, I was alarmed to see the lack of ball boys that we had round the side of the pitch. In fact, one of the times our own goalkeeper had to run to our corner flag to pick up the ball. There wasn't a soul there even to throw a ball back to him. So
see that one, Blue Star, was that no one we were 3-0 up at that point? But
no, it wasn't there. That was for the start of the game, mate. So I hope that's addressed for tomorrow.
Okay. I thought actually, Port, I actually thought the ball boys were on it at the game, actually, sitting there watching it. To be honest, Blue Star, I didn't really notice it. I thought they were on it. I know when we went 3-up, you'll do what you usually do. And I seen McGregor going McLaughlin trailing across to get the ball, but I thought we were up 3-0 at that point, mate, but I could be wrong.
The other one was right. The other one, Port, for me, the back four more or less picks itself. I think he definitely would play with Ben Davies next to Goldson, obviously Tav and Barisic. See the midfield for me, I like the idea that we've got a bit of pace in the team now. The only thing I would still say on the first half, I don't think there was enough support for midfield in the box, i.e. I still think Big Colac was getting left too much on his own whenever there was crossbars. So for the benefit of that, I would like to see us playing with Lundstrom, Tillman and Lawrence in midfield. But I don't think for a minute Gio will do it, and I'll tell you why. I think he's been trying a couple of things out, knowing that they were coming up. One, he started with Davis in one of the games, who had a brilliant match, wasn't considered again, not even as a substitute. And then on Saturday, you had Lundstrom playing along with Jack, who I thought the two of them, especially in the second half, the two of them complemented. I thought the two of them were brilliant together. On that basis, I think he'll go along with Lundstrom and Jack. So if that's the case, does he start with Tillman or alongside? If that's the case, does that mean Matondo would be dropping out? What do you think, guys?
I'll go to Port with that, Blue Star. My personal thing is Lawrence could miss out. I think Port, if Kent and he wants to play another winger on the other side.
I agree, mate. I think your midfield against PSV in particular, I think it's one of the occasions where, and I know I said last week at Ibrox we shouldn't have played with these two sitters. If it was my choice, I would always have Lawrence instead of Jack alongside Lundstrom, or vice versa. If Lundstrom's not fit, I'd have Jack and Lawrence to give, as you said, Blue Star, to get that extra man in the box. But against PSV, I think we need our two sitters, and in the front three behind Cholak will be Kent, Tillman, it's close to Cholak, and I'm playing number 10, and Matondo on the right. That's what I think will happen the weekend, guys. Tomorrow night.
Do you think Ryan Kent will play tomorrow?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
I think he'll play, Blue Star, if he's fit. I think he'll be fit. I think he will play tomorrow.
Okay.
Blue Star.
Absolutely. Listen, the three that are, four automatics, McLaughlin, Tav, Goldson, and Kent's definitely starting without a shadow of a doubt. He more or less said that in his presser today.
What about Ryan Jack?
Aye, definitely. Well, I think I'll be a two bridge man. It'll be Lundstrom and Jack together.
Right, okay.
Two sitters.
So you were impressed with him then the weekend. You were impressed.
I was, mate. Do you know what? Joe really pleased me the weekend, guys. And you can think you tell me what your thoughts are. It was good to see the young players and the new players coming up and showing us as the weeks are going on and the understanding's getting there. They're getting better and better. But it's also good to see the old guard stepping up and being the experience to show the young guys that the old guard's there to help the new guys. I thought that they gelled well.
Blue Star, do you think, when you look at Tillman, I've watched him, right? I've seen him. I know sometimes if you're not at the game, the telly doesn't always show you the full picture, but see his movement, Blue Star, his touches, his close control, he looks a player.
Oh, without a doubt. And one of the things I noticed about him too, I always thought he looked pretty slight. Saturday's game there, I've got to be honest, guys, there was quite a few times he was putting himself about, and in fact, on that, I like the idea that they've got a wee bit of that about him, especially when he's young. But you must remember, he's used to that German league. If you're too slight and you can't put it about in that German league, then you're not even considered, as we all know. And the other one for that is Lawrence. Lawrence has got that bit of needle about him. You can see that he can handle himself, which I think, to be honest, guys, I think sometimes we're a wee bit powder puff in that department. So, just what you're saying, the very fact these guys are pretty young, and if you go through the most of our team now, okay, you've got your stalwarts, but none of them are really past the age of 30, bar the likes of our goalkeeper, etc. But most of our team now, the one thing you're looking at, Gio, he's bringing younger guys through, but obviously what they have been studying on, no doubt about it. Tillman, even wee Matondo, if anything, I would say he's still a wee bit off. I definitely do. But certainly Tillman's stature and that, and as you say, he's moving after the ball is absolutely first class. His touches and everything are amazing to watch. Definitely. He's riddled with ability.
What I've noticed, Blue Star, in the games that I've watched him, especially at Ibrox, his movement's good. He gets into pockets of space. Nobody seems to be able to mark him, and he ghosted off that boy Port in the first half for the goal. But I just think his awareness on the park is great now, and I think as you say, Lawrence starts to maybe get game time beside him and an understanding with everybody else, I think he's going to absolutely be tremendous for us, because his awareness on the park's amazing. Port.
Mate, Ross Wilson and his team have unearthed a gem, in my opinion, and Juicy was on with me on Saturday and he made a cracking point. Just go and buy him now. Just go and pay the fee. I've seen enough of a young man playing in Europe, biggest stage. He's probably the highest level he's played, playing for Rangers, and you can see him getting fitter, stronger, every week. And one thing that Rangers have not had for a long, long time, guys, is an aerial threat. We've got a guy now that's got genuine, aerial power. And to generate, the muscle, the neck muscles, to generate the header, the underside of the bar at that angle. It reminded me of Miroslav Klose, the German international. That's what it reminded me of. He's as good as him. What a header it was.
That's very complimentary. That's very complimentary. He's the highest scorer in German football or something like that.
He scored 7 headers in one World Cup, mate. That's what I'm saying it for.
Amazing.
He's nearly on a hat trick. We'll take one tomorrow night. Bridge, I think I'll come to you and then I'll come to Blue Star. I think when you're looking at Tom Lawrence, he's the type of player that we've been sort of looking for midfield. That we know we had a player there. I know he's no Blue Star's favourite in Arfield that would go stand in the box and get his goals, but I like it when he gets on the ball outside the box. He looks to make things happen. He's looking for a 1-2, or he'll take a man on and get himself in the box. Bridge.
A very clever player, and we're fortunate to have someone like that. I think he's going to be a big star for us, and he's very commanding on the ball. Looks the part, very silky. I think, and he's the one that likes to have a shot at goal as well. He's not the only one, but he does like to do things. And a lot of the time you see the game's going through him, and he makes a big difference. Really good player.
You alluded earlier to it, Blue Star. He can put a tackle in there. I've seen him. He likes to get the fit in and get stuck in, eh?
Oh, without a doubt. He's very neatly that way. He's wiry. He's got quite a good physique. And obviously with Derby, he was playing as a winger and cutting inside just the same. So, I mean, he can run for that 90 minutes. As I say, I like players that can run. On Arfield, I'll hold my hands up, guys. I've got to be honest. When the wee guy came in, he hasn't got the ability to take the ball by players. What he does is he tries to get into space to find the ball. He seems to have a knack of knowing where the ball's going to go. But I've got to give him full marks for his 2 assists. It was his brain power coming, even with Matondo. To be fair, Matondo ran out of him when he ran out of Matondo, because he knew it was Matondo had done all the work, but the guy had to be there to put the ball in the net. And on that, so did Lawrence, because when you watch Lawrence passing that ball into the net, There wasn't another Rangers player near that ball, guys. And that's my point. It's about getting players in that box, because make no mistake about it, that big guy Kolak, Southside, you're talking about Tillman's movement after ball. You watch Big Kolak's movement after ball, it's absolutely first class. We've not had a striker with that movement. We've not had a striker with that movement, including Alfie. The big guy's he's also got a burst of pace over that 10 yards as well when he has to. But his movement after the ball, the amount of times that you're watching them telling players where to put the ball, but they don't do it, but that'll come.
I've noticed that a couple of times. Tav could have done it. Golson could have done it in a game where he sort of just peeled off and made the run, and if they'd fired it, he was going to be offside. But his movement, and it will come, and once he gets into midfield and they can feed off him, he's not wanting the ball, Blue Star, in his feet. He will maybe take it now and again and try and lay it off. He's looking for balls just going the centre backs. He's wanting balls spread across the goal. He wants balls bobbing about the box. And you look at the type of goals he's scored, Port. He's no, they've all been different, but the most of them, he's in that box. That's where he wants the ball, in the box, flashing across or whatever. Eh?
It reminds me of, mate, and Jelavic had a great record for one-touch finishing. It was cut, even when he went to Everton. Just as you say, the boys fizzed in, or the boys played inside left, inside right channel. He takes one touch, bang, goal. That's the way he is. He's an instinctive penalty box, fox in the box striker. We want to call him. He's a guy that I said on the show on Saturday that I think will be the first Rangers player in a long while to get the 20+ league goals. With the amount of chances Rangers create in a game, he might very well be the first guy since Chris Boyd or Ken Miller probably to get 20+ league goals.
He's certainly heading that way, isn't he?
Yeah,
I think it's about time, Bridge, into it. It depends on when the manager thinks he wants to bring Alfie back. For me, I'll be honest, if that guy's got the jersey, we've bought him, we've actually want him to do what he's doing, is score goals. So basically, how could you really take him out? How could you really take him out the team if he can keep scoring a goal every game at the moment? And even when Alfie's fit, I still think he keeps the jersey, Bridge.
It says to lost, mate.
No doubt about that. If he continues his form, scoring form, look, the guy's obviously he's just in the door, and he scored 3 goals. You can't argue with that. That's tremendous statistics. Amazing. So
Blue Star, I would even think. Sorry, Bridge. Blue Star, I would even think if he went a game where he didn't score, his work rate and his movement, but his work rate, and I still think. You wouldn't be. I wouldn't think you could have to drop him. We want him to score every week, but I think if he went a week where he didn't score, I don't think it would be an automatic. You need to come out now. Alfie needs to come in because he's fit.
Here. Glad you said that, mate, because you see the same posts, you see the same media things as what I do, and some of the things that seem to be against the big guy. It's all about getting Alfie back. Listen, there's no chance of that happening. Certainly not in the short term. Alfie's nowhere near match fit, nowhere near it. And anybody that thinks different is kidding ourselves on. You seen him in that last 20 minutes. He was blowing. Let's not kid ourselves. And to be fair to Bridge did allude to that at the start of the show. Alfie's nowhere near match fit at the moment. But as you say, it's like what Oxford said the other night. Is it on performance or is it on training? Every manager tells you if you're in possession of the jersey and you're producing the goods, you keep the jersey. We know that doesn't happen nowadays. But the big guy, as you say, his movement, and once the likes of Lawrence, Tillman, Matondo, and whoever else gets to know exactly, you must remember he's just in the door and so are they. Once this movement is you can see that the spells are there. There's spells in the game that some of the movement's just absolutely amazing. And once that becomes like a 90-minute or a 70-minute thing, oh, for goodness sake, that big guy's going to score a barrel load. There's no doubt about it.
There is somebody who does present on this show thought somebody a while back was good to be movement. It was just a pity at Sheffield Wednesday, but it was a pity that he didn't score many goals for his Port. Just because. No, it wasn't the Port. That wasn't me, I was going to say.
Brilliant.
Was the Port, but he thought he was going to be a good unit at Sheffield Wednesday. Just thought I would put that in there.
Southside, look at the big guy. Look at the 2 goals. See when you play the 2 goals back against that he scored against us. Now remember, he wasn't we a big fancy flashy team. Malmo were nowhere near as good as Rangers. They scored the goals that night. That was it, and we were off the pace. But see when you've seen the 2 goals he actually scored against us, they were absolutely. The 2 of the goals were absolutely belters. So. You know the abilities there with a big guy. Could it be that he was just never fancied for one of the bigger mobs simply because he wasn't a big fancy team? These things happen in football, but there's no doubt about it. That big guy's got ability. He's got it in spades. He definitely has.
We've got him at the right time, Port. He's 27. He's going on 28. So most people say that you're getting him in their prime.
Your peak here.
His work rate's brilliant, like you say, and he's scoring goals at the moment on a weekly basis now for us. So he's everything that we've asked for, isn't he, at the moment?
Aye, that's how I touched on what I think his goal ratio will be, mate. I just think any decent finisher worth their salt at Glasgow Rangers, and you look at the ones we've had in the past, Chris Boyd, deemed as a, surplus to their clubs and not very good outside the box, but he came alive inside the box and scored, well over 250 goals for Rangers. So, on that, this is the next one we've had. This is the first we've had with strikers like Alfredo's completely different. He does a lot of work outside the box. He'll drop deep, he'll drift wide, doesn't play between the sticks. Whereas Cholak just likes to stay in between the sticks and just becomes alive in there. And that's just sort of striker, in my opinion, that will be missing for a long, long time. That guy is going to get that 20 goals plus guaranteed every year, and to get him in his prime, mate, is superb.
Talking about players, sorry, Bridge, I'll ask you this one. Talking about players that's missing, Glenn Kamara. Ryan Jack now, it's his turn to get a shot in the team. I mean, we used to be a mainstay, Bridge, in our midfield. We would pick Kamara every single week, and especially in European games.
Well, you look at Kamara, the service Kamara's given to Rangers has been fantastic. But sadly for him, the quality in the team is now up, and every year it's getting higher and higher. Look at all the boys that are playing for us now. I don't know if Kamara would be a first pick ahead of any of them, which obviously that's what it looks like. He's not. So Kamara needs to start to show it's possible, even a wee bit more. He needs competition there for these places. Kamara needs to rise above it and go for it. Now I like Kamara. Kamara's a smashing player. And 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we got him, we were saying, "Oh my God, we paid 50,000 for him. He's a monster star, brilliant." But look at him; he can't get a game at the moment. I don't know whether he's falling out with a manager or what it is. So somewhere along the line, he's got to wake up, smell the coffee, and get his act together. And it may be, as I said, sadly, that he can't do that. He's reached the top of his skills. I don't know. You tell us. You tell me.
I don't think there's no fell out with the manager, and I think we've asked him to play a couple of times in that forward position, Blue Star, to try and go forward. And I think he's probably a better position as when we're maybe playing a 2, and it's down to him to fight it out with Ryan Jack and like a Stephen Davis for the 2 beside Lundstrom.
Yeah, for me, I think I try and read what how our manager is trying to get our style of play. And for the start, when Gio's come in, he was stuck with players that weren't his players. If you look at the players that he's brought in and you see the slight changes, especially even last year at the later stages of Europe, he's a tactical guy. He goes with the opposing team, especially in Europe, as to how they play. He's got to try and nullify plus play to what strengths we've got to outdo them. And for me, the last couple of games that Kamara played, talk about frustration. All the guy did the minute he got the ball was sideways and backwards. That's no use to a team that's, especially at Ibrox, that's trying to go forward and score goals. Because you're absolutely taking all the pace out of the game by passing the ball backwards. And on that, and I'll let you go, guy. I'll let you carry on so you can get other callers on. Southside and Port, for me, I know Bridge doesn't like to think about the centre halves. I will make a comment on the likes of Goldson. And the last 2 games especially, his distribution has been awful. Against Union, Barisic has been taking quite a bit of stick. Yes, he made a couple of mistakes, but Goldson's distribution, absolutely horrific it has been at times. So I hope he's on a game tomorrow night, because he's going to have to be, because he's our main centre half and he will get a lot of the ball. But I hope he finds his own players with it. But here's hoping, guys, a 1-0 or a 2-0 for me, guys, and I'd be bouncing. But as long as we're not behind, because I'm convinced that we could even score out there. But we know they're up a level. They are a good side. There's no doubt getting away for that, guys.
Aye, Poster, I'm just hoping he doesn't pick up any more yellow cards.
I know that.
He's been League right. And Europe now, he's been racking them up a wee bit, which is unusual. But you've seen the state of that referee, in the last game, he was, and plus he get booked for that penalty, which he should never have had a yellow card for that. But I agree with you, mate. I think his distribution could have been a lot better at times. He's usually on it. I think my own personal opinion is a lot of people have a whipping boy or they don't like somebody, and I think he gets less criticism probably, like you've picked up on. He's been slack with his passes and he's not been too clever, yet Borna would normally be the guy who's a whipping boy, would normally get picked on, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But it was great to see him do well on Saturday. Thanks for calling in, Blue Star. I appreciate your input, pal, as always.
Definitely.
It was good to hear you on.
Cheers, guys. Great show. Keep it up.
Bridge, I was just saying that. I think we've all got favourites. So at the end of the day, we want every single player to play well in a blue jersey. But I think there's a couple of players that always seem to be the whipping boys, and it always seems to be the sort of older players that we've had in the team. Kamara, I don't think he's a whipping boy, Port, but I think now his position, when you look at Tillman and Lawrence, he's got either playing beside Lundstrom, or he might not be getting a game, eh?
That's what, see, when Glenn Kamara, when I've seen him playing at his top mate, it's more often than not, and it's been for Finland, by the way, in that holding role in front of the back four. When Gio came in and Blue Star touched on, he was playing an advanced role, and I don't think that's his game, mate. Look, listen, Glenn Kamara's a wonderful footballer. I would never take it away from him. I've enjoyed watching him. I still like him as a player, because I think he's technically sound. He's got a wee bad habit of playing that blind pass inside all the time, and I think that's what Gio sees. I think he sees a danger in Glenn Kamara. He can be lackadaisical on the ball, he can get caught on the ball. It's another one that frustrates me. Gets caught ball watching and gets caught on the ball. And when he gets caught on the ball and you're the deepest line midfielder, you take it off him, south side, you're in and goal. All right, you defence there, but you broke your second last line of defence. And I think that's one of the things that Gio doesn't trust about him, to be that guy that's going to be sound, solid in them holding roles in midfield. So unfortunately, he's a victim of being caught between two positions.
Bridge, I can see away for him, Port, and I know it didn't work against Union, right? But see a Kamara, a Jack, a Lundstrom, I can see them playing midfields, Bridge, like at games and play with one up and one half maybe, and no play the two wingers. Because I think in Europe, we want to try and keep the ball, maybe try and retain it, and then maybe just hit on the break at times with a wee bit of pace up front, or one winger and one Tillman in the middle to try and produce magic, Bridge. I think there might be a couple of times in games, I know it didn't work against Union, but I think it wouldn't be surprised if we went back to a midfield like that at times in certain games where you just want to retain the ball, try and keep possession.
Well, obviously I wasn't at the Union game live, watching on the telly. I was screaming out for that. I was screaming out for a couple of midfielders, defensive like midfielders, stalwarts, and they just get hold of the ball, stop with the ball and start playing it, keep possession, start playing it. You don't need any fancy frills or anything like that, and just move forward as a unit, because that's what you need, somebody with a wee bit grit and tackle to pick the ball up. That team sliced us many times, that Union. Many times they sliced through us, and if we had a couple of central midfielders in there, defensive minded, they wouldn't have done that. They would have already been put in the park, a free kick given away and things like that. They would have stopped them. I believe that sincerely. Maybe a wee mistake that the management and coaches made. Look, I'm not any better than that manager. I'm not saying that, but I just think that what you said there, Say, that was my thoughts exactly. Watching them, if you watch the game again, if you ever want to go through torture, you'll see exactly what you said. As glaringly obvious to me that you needed to put central defensive midfielders in there and stop them, just stop them, and then start to play the ball out. Now, when Kent wasn't playing, he couldn't make it. So it was not as if we were doing without. He wasn't there anyway. So, you could maybe play one up front, and that's all there was to it. That's the way I think about it.
I was saying, Port, obviously the Union game's not a good one to sort of to talk about, but do you know what I'm saying? In Europe, where we could play they three and then we're looking for one or two and one, obviously you're one striker with one half. I don't think a lot of games away of that will probably go gung-ho and play the two wingers and obviously have Tillman and Lawrence in the team. Do you know what I'm getting at?
There's times.
I think there's times where you'd want to have a Jack and Kamara and Lundstram in there to maybe try and shore it up, hold the ball, and then ping boys forward to try and open up teams without going gung-ho with 4 or 5 up front.
There's no doubt about that, mate. When we're going to, if we get through this qualifier, mate, into Champions League proper, you're getting up into the elite level of football, and they're just, and this is not just me disrespecting my team because I don't think we're good enough. There'll just be certain games, mate, where you maybe need to play Jack, Kamara, and Lundstram. So you'll have maybe Lundstram at the base, but you'll have Jack and Kamara who are going to go and get a lot of possession, ball retention, knock it about in the midfield, but also win the midfield battle just to make it strong in there, so we're not getting ran over. Because the quality we're going to get, mates. But as I say, we're talking about elite level quality. Some of the players we're going to come up against and teams we're going to come up against. So you're going to need to stick 3 in there to sort of stem the flow at times, mate. Aye, definitely. I understand totally. I mean,
I think without getting just too ahead of ourselves, although we're all wanting in that group stage bridge, I think tomorrow night will be a good test because they're not going to sit back. They're not going to come to Ibrox and sit back. I believe they'll come out and attack us. And I think it's that level above. I would think Tottenham on their day are better than them. But apart from that, who were played in a pre-season, it's the best team we'll have faced at the moment this season, up until we play in the qualifiers, hopefully.
Come on. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, you're right. I think Tottenham have they opened my eyes greatly when I was watching them. But I do think we, in the short space of time between the Spurs game and present day, we came a long way. And the manager has come a long way too. And he'll have different thoughts. Some of the thoughts and some of the stuff that you've been mentioning, or we've all been mentioning. Because at the end of the day, we're all Bears. Our team will win. But he's the man with the plan. And whatever the plans are for tomorrow night, let's hope it's a really good one. We absolutely mollocate them. That's what I want. Mollocate them.
Sorry, I was doing a bridge, man, there. I was talking away and I'm like, Aye, bridge, it's a massive game. We'll obviously get into it after the tune and that. But looking forward tomorrow, Port. Massive game for the club, and I'll probably get your team off you possibly in the second half. So I'll give you a wee chance to think about your team if you like, and we'll get that off you in the second half. But massive game for the club and a massive game for us, the fans, to see PSV Eindhoven. I know they're not the elite of Europe, but they're certainly the best team at the moment that we're going to face in this qualifier to get us into the group stages. And I think it's 50-50, Port.
That's what I've got. It's been a 50-50 tie. I think it's one of the toughest opponents we could have got in a qualifier. I don't think anybody would have wanted to play PSV. They're definitely a good side, mate. But I just think over a two-legged tie, and I'm going on my last year's Europa ties, and I know this time we're at home first, but over a two-legged tie, we're a tough obstacle for anybody, mate. And I do think Gio's upgraded the squad this year.
Aye, 100%. Well, guys, if you both would like to get yourselves on to mute, it's came to half time of the break, and we're going to have a tune.
broad Pacific shore. I sailed around the stormy capes and I've heard the 40s roar. I've flying the Indian Ocean, I've sailed the China Sea, but never see back home in Scotland more than all the rest of me. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. It's the cleanest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. And it's not on the really just clear sea. No more I'll sail the seven seas, no more I'll ever roam. No more I'll feel the urge again, I'm back where I belong. And 3 o'clock each Saturday I'll join the mighty throng. With flags and banners all around, I'll proudly sing this song. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. It's the cleanest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. And it's not on the really just clear sea. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. It's the cleanest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, blue, blue sea of my God. And it's not on the really just clear sea. And it's not on the really just clear sea.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hey, how you there, Port?
Yes, mate, yes.
Aye, massive game now tomorrow night, eh? Absolutely massive. I know you've probably done a report, so I think we'll maybe get a wee chance to listen to that and then we can talk about it. But massive game and looking forward to it. So I think if we hit mute, I think we'll hear your report, mate.
Cheers, my man. Hello and welcome to Port's Report. Today we'll take a look at our Dutch opponents, PSV Eindhoven. We will look at their formation, their system, and of course their dangerman. Manager Rudolf Nistelrooy played Monaco in the last round, and if I'm honest, we're probably very lucky to go through. To play against Rangers, PSV will set up in a 4-3-3 formation. They have a very typical Dutch style and system. They love to get the ball down, play through the lines, but also love to get the ball wide, where they'll look to use Cody Gakpo's very gifted left foot to supply crosses for Luc de Jong. He is a striker who has a lot of experience and previously played with Sevilla in the Spanish League. Joey Veerman, who needs no introduction, will look to dictate PSV's tempo and drive forward. I've just found out that Joey Veerman has an ankle knock and could be a doubt. Gus Till will play closest to de Jong if selected. He's the number 10. He's a very gifted player who again plays through the lines, very intelligent movement, and seems to have a sixth sense for finding players and has an eye for goal. Their midfield general is Ibrahim Sangare. He's their midfield general and screens the back four very, very well. He's very hard to tackle and also has a good range of passing. He has a problem with the discipline, although, getting a lot of yellow cards, so maybe Rangers should maybe target Ibrahim and look to get in around him quickly. In the full-back position, they have Philip Max, a German international, who is very good going forward, but I really question his defensive ability. And their right-back's a very young, up-and-coming right-back, with not a lot of experience and didn't play too well in the previous round. Van Bronckhorst, Roy Mackay, Dave Voss will have a great inside knowledge of the Dutch game and PSV. Roy Mackay previously scouted their previous game against Go Ahead Eagles, where PSV won 5-2. Former Rangers target, Joey Veerman, a real good player in ball possession and has an eye for goal. He's a top goal scorer this season with 3. They also have Xavi Simons, who's another target for Rangers. Played for PSG for 2 years. He also brings a lot of danger. Again, very creative, has an eye for goal, and so far he's scored 4 in the season so far, got 2 in his last game. Cody Gakpo, who's been monitored by Man United. Again, a young player with a lot of real talent. Probably their most dangerous player, if I'm honest. But against Monaco, his form's been very poor. His league form's also not been at best. He scored 2 goals this season. Luke de Jong, again, very strong in the air. Gets a lot of goals due to the supply and delivery from PSV's attacking talent. He also has 2 goals. PSV have a lot of missing first-team talent. Nordi Makudi, Oliver Pasagli and Maro Jr. are all out of the match. PSV have a positive start to the season under Van Nistelrooy, beating the Ajax in the Super Cup. They've had a decent league start and have qualified for the third round tie, scoring 18 and conceding 10. So Rangers can get at this team. This is Van Nistelrooy's first job in management. Previous manager Mark van Bommel was sacked after a short tender in the job. So Van Nistelrooy is sending Dutch football as a bit of an experiment, but has scored, as I said, 18. So he's setting out an attacking system. And that's the end of Port's report.
Thanks very much, Port. It was a thorough report. They've obviously got plenty of danger men, Port, and throughout their team. But as you say, quality opposition. Now you're getting to this stage of the Champions League, 2 games away to get into the group stage.
Indeed, mate. I would expect no less at this level and where we are right now in qualifying, mate. I did watch the last 3 games. And what was very apparent is, as well as them scoring a lot of goals, and Van Nistelrooy's got them on the front foot, they're attack minded. They remind me of us, and I'm going to be honest with it, they remind me of watching us at times. I mean, they look to slow the game down, control. Veerman dictates everything, a bit like John Lindstrom does for us. There's going to be a lot of 1-on-1 battles. Out on the left, you're going to have Tav versus Gakpo, who's their main man, as I said. So the question will be, can Tav get him going the other way? And then you're going to have Lundstrom and Veerman just head on head with each other. Both guys, and Lundstrom does all the dictating for me and our team, raises the tempo when Lundstrom's on it. Our team are a lot better. But on the other hand, Veerman's the same for them. So again, mate, a lot of individual battles through the team. They've got a lot of creativity, mate. But listen, they've scored 18, but they've conceded 10. And I think that's important. You can get at them, mate.
I think tomorrow probably try and have a wee fast start, Bridge, but I think we've got to be cautious. I think they'll come and have a go at us as well, Bridge, and I think we'll have to make sure that the back door's shut tomorrow night for us, hopefully permanently for the game over the 2 legs, but we need to try and keep a clean sheet at Ibrox tomorrow, That's important.
Oh, 100%. I think our defence need to be on the ball and on their game. And just watch what we're doing, and don't make any mistakes in the first 10 minutes or so. It gives you that wee springboard to carry on going. Obviously, it'll depend on how our midfield and attack get on. Maybe if we play right up top, if we can play right up top, then there should be no problem for the defence in the first few minutes. But really and truly, it's all about what Rangers are going to do, isn't it? Really, but what are Rangers going to do against this team? And that'll dictate whether they can actually do anything against us at all. And
correct.
Need to be up.
Correct, mate. I think they've got. I mean, Port. They've got players that have got a name, and obviously, Gakpo try to getting a move to Manchester United. Is it him, isn't it?
Yeah.
They were looking at, and obviously Veerman will get to play at Ibrox now after he's trying to maybe get him. Siemens as well, and you've named another 1 or 2, but we've got quality in your team as well, and I think it's going to be a really exciting game tomorrow. I just hope we get the goals that we need. I'd like to take a lead over there, but I think it'll be an entertaining game tomorrow, Port.
I can see goals, mate. I can see goals. I do think we'll score, but I also think they'll score. I've got a score in mind, but it's not good for the heart, mate. I'll tell you, I've got a score in mind, but it's not good for the heart.
Well,
Come
you
out
keep.
with it and see it.
I'll tell you what. But we'll wait until I ask him his team. Right, he'll give his team in a wee minute, and then we can ask him his score. But the only thing is, Port, you keep getting teams goals against us, and that just breaks my heart. It just breaks my heart. Even if I think they could score, I still don't want to say they're going to get a goal.
I can only be honest, mate.
I know. When you said Kilmarnock will score first the other week, I was like, oh no. But hey ho. Right, I'll tell you what, Bridge, we'll just stick him on the spot now, right? And we'll get Port's team.
Right, Port's team would be McLaughlin, Tav, Goldson, Davis, Borner, midfield 2, Lundstrom and Jack, and then I would have Matondo on the right, Tillman number 10, Kent on the left, and Cholak up front. And my score's going to be 3-2 Rangers.
3-2. Bridge, what do you think his team? Any changes you would make?
Was that a 4-2-3-1 you're doing?
Yeah, mate, yep.
No, I like it. I like every one of the players you said. I like them. I think they're smashing players. No, I wouldn't necessarily change anything, you know. It's very well picked. Well picked, pal. Good one. I like that.
I think it's...
What do you think, Southside?
I think the clamour will be because we know that he brings the balance to the defence, but he's behind in match fitness to James Sands in central defence, as in game time. But I think myself, he's got to put Davis in. You know, I think now it's got to be, we need to see him most weeks now, I think, in the team. So I think probably that team, Jack, Lundstrom. I don't know, but I think because of Matondo, what he done in the second half, he'll probably get the start. I think if he hadn't had as big an impact, Port, he might not have started. I think Scott Wright might have started because I think we've seen that he works better with Tav, but Matondo had a bigger impact in the game in the second half, although it's only against Kilmarnock.
I agree, and the reason I've picked Matondo, mate, is because you'll be right up against Philip Max. That's a German international fullback who cannot defend, great going forward. So again, Matondo's going to need to do his work, him and Tav on that side. With Gakpo and Max on that side, them two are going to need to try and get them two going the other way. But with Matondo's directness and his pace, he will really get at that Philip Max, mate. Definitely will.
Right, okay. I'll look out for that tomorrow night. I hope you're 100% right.
So when you say he's going to get right, he's going to go in for that Philip Mack. Are you saying that's what Gio will tell him to do? Or think he'll just do it automatically?
Well, I think Port's identified that as a weakness, Bridge, that he's
No,
done
I
in
don't
his
mean
report.
the player, the Rangers player. Will he feel that he's going to do that? Or will it be Gio would say to him, the coaching staff would say to him?
I think you should just phone Gio tomorrow and tell him.
I think it's on, and a lot of the things I checked out today and read, and I watched a Dutch journalist talking about it as well, and it was him that actually said that, you know, the fullback positions, PSV are the strongest, and they mentioned the fact the young boy plays at right back, not enough experience, and really get found out against Monaco, and it's not a great start of the season. But in particular, Philip Max, who's an international for Germany, just can't defend. He can't defend, so he feels Brian Kent and Matondo would get, and Tillman to an extent would get a lot of joy. I
think that's what we've got to look at. We've got to get our forward thinking players on the ball and cause them the problems. You know, I think we've got to, Tillman hopefully will have another decent game and find pockets of space, and if Lawrence is on the park as well, then we're looking for him to go on the ball and feed Kent, etc. Bridge, I think we're looking to try and stay on the front foot as much as we can, but I think they will be quick on the break. They're going to be a good footballing team, but I just hope with the atmosphere, the first 15-20 minutes, we're going to be on the front foot for the start.
I can't disagree with that either. I hope that the team that just going with the team that Port mentioned, and I do like Davies playing. I know, understandably, he's sells you like a match fitness, or he's full match fitness, put it that way. So I don't know what the manager and the coaches think. But I quite like the balance that was there at the weekend, and I would like to see that going forward. And let's see what happens. A pity for Sands, but if Davies starts to falter a wee bit, then Sands can come in, no problem at all. And it's sad that I find it even sadder that we don't have a left-sided centre half. I just can't even a left-footed centre half. I just don't see it. And a club like Rangers, and we're struggling to get a left-footed centre half. I just find it strange, to say the least.
Well, Port, I was going to say, apart from selling two now, and also Simpson was left-footed, Bassey, Hollander, and now we've got Davis. So we've done no bad, Bridge, considering we've struggled, but we couldn't get one to play regular in the first team. That was the problem. We had plenty in the squad.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Ben Davis now, it's time to kick on.
I think, we've paid a fee for him, mate, £4 million. I think it's time. 76 minutes under his belt. I think a lot of that was he was taken off to give him probably a rest, mate, in my opinion, to get him to make sure he was playing definitely on Tuesday. I think it's a no-brainer. I think you just seen the balance. You've seen how it opens up both sides of the pitch. Kent will probably benefit from having Bourne and Davis on that side as well again. So again, because it brings balance, all the guys on that left side. And as I said, as understanding grows, we only benefit as a support, and the team will benefit as well as that understanding continues to grow throughout the season.
Exactly. We've just got to try and bed them in now. We've had a bit of training according to Gio Bridge. They have been in training, so, and even Alfie's been back. It's just about match fitness for a number of the players now. But I think going forward, I think the only one that we've got to look to come into the team in time will probably be Yilmaz. Probably in another few weeks' time, maybe start to get into the league team, Bridge, because you'll need to get in and get some minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. Yeah. Even the physical fitness is very important, as we know. Get your legs right, get so on and so forth. All the things that your trainers told you if you're playing football, get the legs right, and they'll keep you going. And all these wonderful things. But there's nothing to beat the match fitness. You're like going for a ball, and if you're an inch too out, it looks really stupid and horrible, But if you're on the ball and your mind's right and your eyes in, bang, you get that ball and you'll get it right in the sweet spot, and away you go. That's what it's about, being both physically ready and mentally ready, and concentration 100%. Everything about the pitch is yours. Everything about your opposition is yours, and they're the same. They'll be feeling the same about you lot. So when you need to get 100% fit, fully fit, and then you get that match fitness in there. It's quite ham.
I think probably sports science comes into a lot of things now as well. And I think, although it sounds daft, but I think some of the players playing in that heat on Saturday, the amount of running that they do, they're obviously checking them because it's pre-season with fitness levels and that. And I think that sometimes dictates the odd team as well. I mean, I think that's why it was sensible, and I thought he was always going to come off with Davis and Ben Davis on Saturday. But I think sports science takes a lot to do with things now in team selections. We just think the player's going to play automatically next week, but it's not always the case, isn't it? No.
Oh no, it's massive now, mate. You've got recovery periods. He's probably giving him a day. He's probably giving him Sunday off, and maybe even a half day on Monday. Probably just doing a lot of talking on Monday with a light training session, if I'm brutally honest, mate. Because they'll have done all their homework. And the boy Kerry Bowley they've added to the first team coach now, behind Dave Voss and Gio. I think he's got a big part to play. Mate. He's another one that's seen as a master tactician. Great developing young talent and also developing teams from the City group. So I think that the whole team now, including his backroom staff, mate, will have all their T's crossed and their dots, their I's dotted, mate. I think that's. I thought the nice stone left unturned, mate, and I think we're very fortunate to draw a Dutch side with having, as I say, Dave Voss, Giovanni van Bronckhorst and Roy Mackay as our coaches as well, mate. I think that's a bit of a wee bonus we've got.
Well, aye, especially that PSV put Monaco out, because by all accounts, I think most people thought Monaco would maybe go through. Bridge. But I think the fact that we've got the Dutch team, like I say, it'll suit us in style. And I heard Port saying earlier that they play a 4-3-3. And do you see us shaping up as a 4-3-3, Bridge, or do you think we'll play the 4-2-3-1 against the 4-3-3?
I think what you said laterally there, the play 4-2-3-1, I think that's what you'll do. I know that a lot of folk don't want Rangers to play two defensive midfielders at Ibrox, but I think it's going to have to happen till we get our feet under the table, as they say. And if we can get a goal, 2 goals, then they might change it. As during the game, they might change that. And I'll be up to the manager and the coaches to do that. But I think starting off, we'll have to start off with a bit of caution in our game. But we need to do it. I really feel we need to do it. But I think the Rangers are an excellent team, and we should get continuity as much as possible. And that gives us that. 4-2-3-1 will give us that in the moment.
I think if he did shape up the 4-2-3-1 Port, I think we've seen on Saturday, Ryan Jack was getting a bit further forward anyway, and we're leaving Lundstrom. But it is Europe, and we've got to guard. And I think sometimes if Tav's going forward and linking up, I think probably Ryan Jack, if he's playing, or whoever, maybe even Lundstrom at times, will have to cover on the right-hand side in case we lose the ball up the park, because they will be quick on the break against us 100%.
Aye, that's where it's important for me, when they'll have to pick their moments. Southside will have to pick their moments and pick them very carefully. When Tav is up the pitch, that's where he's a light Jack in the team, because he always does fill in for when Tav's forward. And if you look at the weekend's match, we've seen Tav at the edge of our own box, inside, alongside Cholak at times. He's got a very open, sort of free role. Under Gio, I think he gets a lot more licence than he did under Gerrard, if I'm brutally honest. I just think, and it's benefiting our club, because obviously, he gets his goals, a lot of goals at the back post. He gets he's still getting assists for the team. So as I said, for me, it's individual battles, I think, will dictate where the result goes. And I think at times, in regards to the formation outside the 4-2-3-1, I think when we're attacking, you will see the 4-3-3 shape. But when we're probably defending the game, probably getting the back into the 4-2-3-1, you see both sides of them formations, I think, throughout the game.
Or maybe even drop into a 5.
Aye, we might do, mate, especially when we're winning.
Aye. I think, I know you put Ryan Jack in the team, and probably he has got a chance of playing tomorrow night. That was his first 90 minutes for a long time in a Rangers jersey. And you're asking him to go again on Tuesday. So I think probably looking at some of the players, if the team's right that you pick, subs will be important tomorrow night. I think we'll probably have to get them on the park at some point and put a bit of freshness back into the team, Bridge. I think players, possibly like a Scott Wright for a Matondo or whatever, or a Ryan Kent if he's still no shook off his full injury. I think we'd be looking to change it. If Lawrence is on the bench and surprises us, then obviously he would come on. But I think tomorrow, I think subs will be used, and I think we could probably use as many as 3 or 4 tomorrow night as the game gets, well, depending on the game. But I'm hoping that we'll be winning, at the time. But I think we will have to change it about, Bridge, at times.
Well, I think we're allowed 5 subs, and I'd be planning, if I was a manager, I'd be planning to use the 5 subs, depending upon what's happening on the pitch at a certain time. But he would have a team in mind and a set of substitutes in mind, I would imagine. Honestly, I don't know if, for instance, Young Wright would get a game from the start tomorrow night, and it might be Tillman out in the right, just for saying's sake, might put someone else out there on the right. So that these kind of things will happen. The manager will say what the manager does, so it makes sure it happens. And I'm so looking forward to it. I just want Rangers to go out there and be settled on the pitch within a few minutes. Be happy, get your first set of passes up, get the ball at your feet, beat your touch, and get your pass off. That's what I want to see. That's what I'd like to see them doing, and not worry too much about the other team. Obviously, be cautious, of course, But,
I think Tillman, I've seen him out there, but I think he's more influential in the middle of the park, and I think it's between Matondo and Wright tomorrow night. I was talking about subs, Port, and I forgot about Alfie.
I know, incredible, mate.
I know, he's
incredible.
It's just he's been out that long into it, but he's a cert. Take him on tomorrow night at some point, I would think, definitely. I think he's a one guarantee. I think that you will see tomorrow night, mate.
I think Alfie will have a say in this tie at some point, mate. I totally agree with you. But like you touched on it, it's incredible. In the opening weeks of the show, because we've not had Alfie, there's not many people, people have said to him, about fitness and when's he going to get minutes, but we're still getting back to, full fitness. And I think it's incredible. We've not spoke hardly about him. Even when Kent was sort of having his wee injury, nobody sort of moaned because we've got Matondo and Tillman was getting switched from left to right. We seem to have found his space and then playing in the number 10. He's now playing more centrally, which I think is benefit the team. But I think definitely Alfredo Morella's mate will have a say in tie. It's Europe after all, and this is what his whole career at Rangers be made up of European ties, isn't it?
Nah, it's 100%, mate. It's where he comes alive. The thing we know what he does when he plays up front. We know he terrorises the defence. He can pull defenders. He can occupy 2 and 3 at a time. It's just different. Kovac is trying to make the runs and get his mirror in the box, and he's wanting the ball to drop. So they're two different strikers altogether. But Alfie fully fit is a handful for any team, and we've seen it. And in Europe especially, he's came alive, Bridge. The old manager Stevie G used to say he comes alive. It's a Europa League. He used to smile. Alfie's alive, That's where he was scoring most of his goals at one time, and that's what gets you the big moves, I keep saying. What you do in Europe, it's not what you do in the Scottish League. And in Europe, Bridge, he's been phenomenal at times, hasn't he?
Oh, he was shall we say, standing with the fans is just, I don't know. I don't remember MD getting as much as standing for many a long year. And it's all about Europe. It really is all about Europe for Alfie. And it's sad to think that we've not got him 100% fit, either both physically and mentally, match fitness, basically. But I believe he's getting there. And you're going to see maybe 20 minutes of him tomorrow night if you're lucky. I don't know if the manager will take a chance and put him on in the height of the battle. I just don't know. We'll need to see what happens. Unless we're well ahead, it's a different ballgame. But what Blue Star was absolutely right, may I say. He's nowhere near fit, nowhere near physically fit, but he's getting there.
He will get game time, Bridge. It's just about building him back in and getting him the match fitness. That's what we need to get. And then it'll give the big game competition up front. And like I've said, as long as the big game keeps scoring, then you can't do anything else but keep scoring. We've got that referee we've got tomorrow night. He's Italian, but there's no chance I'm going to try and say his name. But I've noticed that in the last 9 games, he's dished out 49 yellow cards and 1 red.
You're not going to say his name?
No.
You never watched The Godfather?
Aye, but his name's nothing like in The Godfather. No.
Don Vito.
I might make an arse it sometimes, but I'm certainly not doing it again tonight. So he's Italian, that's all you need to know. Brilliant. And he's dished out 49 yellow cards and 1 red in 9 games.
I know who can tell us the referee. Come on, Foxy, Port Bear, give us it.
Orsato.
Eh?
Orsato.
That's a drink.
No, it's his name, I know. It's his name, I know. Hey.
Oh, well done.
I think that could maybe benefit us, mate. I don't think we're a dirty side, and sometimes I'm critical. It's because we're not at times. I'd like us to be a bit, tougher. I think Lundstrom's added that. I think Lawrence added that. Tillman doesn't get messed about either. If I'm honest, Alfie's got a bit of fire in him. But I touched on my Port report. Ibrahim Sangari. This guy's a tough tackling, no nonsense midfielder, and has been sent off and has been booked 4 times already in this season. So this guy's got a temperament issue. We should be winding him up tomorrow and try to get him sent off.
He's got a record then.
He has, mate. He has. He's got a terrible record. It's nearly as bad as mine, Brits, man.
No.
I think in Europe, it's just a toss of the coin sometimes with the referees, you know. I don't think there's many you get decent, to be honest. I think a couple of refs last season weren't bad, but I've seen a few. I mean, the most of them, if it wasn't for VAR, a couple of times they were getting goals and that, and we've seen a couple of ropey decisions, especially the booking for Goldstein in the last round for the penalty nonsense. You know, you get a yellow card for that. So, but I just think it's your type of football as well, Port. You know, we see what we're up against every week. We've got to be competitive and all that. And I just think when you touch these players that are foreign, they just get down and roll about and make a melee usually, and the refs sometimes are just straight out with a yellow card. You know,
I think, you know, what we've got to remember as well, when we play in Europe, it seems to be when teams open up against us, they do it at their own detriment, because any team that's come and played, I'm going to make Dortmund, Leipzig, you know, all these bigger teams we played last year in the Europa, mate, Champions League teams, remember, in my opinion. Any time these teams came to Ibrox, you know, with the 12 men, that amazing roar for, you know, your amazing fans, we seem to play a lot better, because you're not stuck with, you know, a team with 5-4-1 trying to defend for their lives. PSV won't do it either. Southside, they'll attack, and as I said, attack Rangers at your peril, because we're worried about them on the counter attack, etc. But we know we've got the pace, we've got the power, we've got the goals to hurt anybody. And as I said, I still feel this team's been upgraded, especially in the pace department.
I believe they'll certainly come out and have a go. I don't doubt that. That worries me a wee bit, because we've not been too clever, Bridge, at the back, have we? No, that's the thing. In Scotland, we don't get tested that often, Bridge. Teams come up the park. You've seen it on Saturday, once, maybe twice. Same way the week before, once, maybe twice. But in Europe, when you give the ball away, then you either get it back, and sometimes you're picking it out the back of your net, or you're taking a goal kick.
Yeah, I think that you look at most of the teams, certainly that we've played, they've all got one really, really big, tall guy up front, and that's most teams out, because they're all going to play across a penalty box, for that matter, and just dump the ball up the park. And that's what they do against us. They don't actually do too much, and we shouldn't have a problem. Our defence, and yet we do. We have terrible problems with these big, tall fellas. We find we'll get 3 defenders run about the guy, and we still can't get the ball off him. And if it's a high ball, we can't win it. And we noticed that in Saturday alone. The big tall fella, and he was up there flicking the ball past us. And okay, nothing came yet. We just got the ball and got on with it, and we're very happy to do so. But really, that's one of the problems we've got. You're right. Our defence at some points of the game are pretty poor. We can't clear the ball. We can't head the ball away. Corner kicks and free kicks, it's a disaster area sometimes. When sometimes we don't lose a goal, and it's in good fortune that we don't. But we do have some weak points in our team. Not that the players are bad in any way, shape or form, but we just seem, somehow or other, we just don't seem able to clear the ball with the head from the box out, or from the opposition goalkeeper kicking the long ball. We just can't get it. Well, seem to always get beaten there.
I think we've got I think we've no got a real commanding centre back the new Port. I mean, Goldstein's no bad, but he's not the best. Sands was obviously filling in. Suter didn't look too clever at times. I really want my centre back to be commanding, bulleting that header, making sure that the centre forwards had that batter in the back when he's won the ball, let them know you're there. And I think the thing that's bugging me, Port, see corner kicks, keep swinging them out, right, with the right foot. But we've not done anything with them this season. You know, we used to maybe play one to the front post and Aribo would make a run when he was there, so surely we could change it with somebody else and he'd flick it. But I just think set pieces in now, and lack of command at the back, and I know we've still to see Ben Davies, but it worries me a wee bit.
I understand what you're saying, mate. I think set pieces in both boxes were not the greatest so far this season. I think, in the opposing box, their corners need to be worked on a bit more. I just don't think there's enough variation in my corners. Outswinging corners all the time. I get that, but I think you're doing the defence. You're doing the defensive work for them. You're putting it right in 9 times out of 10. Keeper comes out and takes it away. Sometimes I think you should mix it up. In swingers and outswingers, short corners. So some variation. I just think we see enough of it. And then in our box, like you're saying about commanding defenders, the guys we had for doing that, mate, were Katic, who's got no chance at the club anymore. He's finished as far as I'm concerned. And Hollander, they guys left their mark on many a centre half.
I'll tell you another
most
player.
Aggressive in the air.
I'll tell you another player who's left and was ways a good while ago. It could actually win balls in the air. Clint Hill.
Aye, yeah, that type. That's the type you like.
Type.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're missing, Bridge. I mean, I don't think Goldstein is commanding, and wins a good number of his headers. Sometimes I just think he lacks that wee bit. And I think we've not seen Ben Davies, and obviously Sands was obviously lacking a bit of height, and he done all right at times, but he was getting out jumped, and I think we've seen Suter getting out jumped, and I think that's what we've lacked. And Hollander wasn't too great either. I didn't think at commanding the box as well as balls into your box as well as balls into the opposition box at corners.
Yeah, we've for a long time now. Even we go. I love Goldson. I think Golson's a tremendous centre half, but he's a man on his own. I know there are other defenders there, but as far as the skill and ability, he's the goalkeeper's out, and he can make things happen. Brings Tav into the game and tries some of these lovely long passes, diagonal stuff. Sometimes comes off for him. And Blue Star said earlier, some of those things aren't coming off at the moment, and that's just a bit of confidence there, because he's not got the confidence in the other centre half. And when I mentioned earlier on, I said something like Balogun. Goldson played quite well with Balogun. It was a good balance. He played quite well with Helander. It was a good balance. But you put Suter in, and there's no balance. You put Sands in, there's no balance. And that means that Goldson can't get to his wee inside right slot on the pitch and get the balls out there and distribute them and do what he wants to do. And you find the more he goes into the actual central part of the pitch, excuse me, he's not as good, because he feels uncomfortable when he wants to move over to the right, to the inside right position. And that's on the pitch, and that's the way I think he loves the game. He loves it. And he goes and gets the ball. He's really good at heading the ball, in my opinion, when there's nobody challenging him. But when he's got to go into the middle and there's somebody challenging him, somebody 3 or 4 inches taller than him even, he's got no chance. He's not going to get it.
I think Port, the thing it's not annoyed me. I'm just surprised that we've started it. I've noticed it more this season. I don't really know if we were doing it much last season. I've just noticed it more this season, zonal defending, and especially no player on the goal line next to the post, which I think we should have at corners. I know Stephen Davis, if he was playing with normally, but this zonal Martin, Port, it's no for me really strung across the 6-yard box.
I hate it, mate. I hate it. And your instruction is, if they're in your zone, you pick them up. So in other words, they get the run on you, they get the jump on you, and once they've got the run and jump on you, mate, you've got no chance of defending that. I prefer old-fashioned, hands-on. I know where my player is that I'm marking. I've got a grip of him. I'm definitely touch close to him. I don't like zonal marking, mate, because it allows the attacking players to get the run on you and jump on you, and once they've got on you, mate, you're finished.
You're giving a lot of free kicks away then, Port, eh?
Aye.
Well, I agree. Well, I suppose if he's touched tight, I suppose you could pull his hair or something like that. But I think you're right. It does. It lets the player run in and get a jump on you, Bridge. Obviously, you being the centre half expert, Zono Martin. I just think you should be touch tight with the forward player or whoever midfielder in the box striker. Eh?
I think I love watching the English Premier League, and you see that great mixture of man on man or man marking and zonal. So sometimes there's zonal marking, and it's something that's a disaster. some of these fantastic players, when they're man marking, they're brilliant. But see, put them in a zonal marking, my goodness, they don't know what they're doing. But then again, against another team, it works for them, and it's just crazy. The way it works is crazy. I'm a man marking person. I like or a space marking. That's your position. The ball comes anywhere near that, you get it. It's no matter what it is, you just get it. Kill everybody, just get the ball.
Man and ball.
That's it. You're well used to that, by the way.
I've looked at a couple of the crosses that have come into our box port, right? And we're all standing in that line watching. And you're not getting the movement. You're sort of jumping for a standing position. Somebody coming in that's going to just coming in running for that ball, he's going to get his head on it. He's going to be higher because he's leaping. There's just times I think I think it will cost us sometimes this year. I don't know why he's went to it, but there's a reason for it. But I just don't get it. I don't like it, to be honest.
It's a European thing, mate. I just think it's a European. It's fashionable in Europe, mate, and it's all these new modern coaches are jumping on the bandwagon, mate. I mean, it's been a good couple of years, but I've just never seen us using it. If you look at the indecision sometimes in our box, and then when we concede from it, which what's happened a couple of times this season, they're all looking at each other, because what you then do is you allow a sort of blame culture. Well, it's your zone. You know what I mean? If you're marking them, then it's your man. Then you should have. You know who you're marking. The instructions clearer. Southside. If I say to you, you're Martin Bridgeman, you know that whole game, any corner, a set piece, that's who you're marking. But if I suddenly say to you, right, just that's your zone, but two defenders come into the front post in your zone, you can't mark two of them. So then it's doing the communication, and then I just don't think you touched on this. Communication's maybe just not there yet with the back four, because there's a new centre half in there, Tav and Goldson should be up to speed, but it's not a good idea for me, mate. You're opening yourself up for the blame culture. That's your man, it's your zone, or you allow the strikers or midfielders to get an easy run on you, mate, and you just can't stop them.
Aye, mother bugbear on Saturday, Bridge. What is Matondo doing in our box at a corner when we should have him up the park? Yeah. Because if we get that ball up the park with a pace he's got, what's he doing in our box? I don't get it.
You've been sitting in the Coatland Rear.
No, have they? But I know. What is it, Bridge?
Whizzing round, I go and meet my family, cousins, and so on and so forth. And we were all saying the same thing. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why? Free kicks, get him up the park. Corner kick, don't put you want in there. But it's the way the manager wants to do it in coaching staff, and it's quite incredible. We can't say too much simply because we're winning games, but it's not because of that fantastic defending in any way, shape, or form. The chap's back there is probably just being a nuisance, but he's no marking anyone really, and the ball will go past him. 99 times out of 100, the ball will go past him, no matter what. So I think it's an amazing thing that's happening that fans don't quite understand. I don't quite understand what the manager says about it, because we can see and we think, why on earth are you doing that? Do such and such. And most of us would agree with that. You're right.
Paul, I just think he's no on the post, right? Because we're not playing anybody on the post. He's no strung across the 6-yard box, right? Because we've got our centre backs and full backs and that. He's probably run about the edge of the 18-yard box. I just thought, why not fling him up the park? They would obviously, whoever it is, would have to put two players back or take a gamble with one. And I just think he's not really going to... He doesn't bring a lot to the party in our box for a corner. He's well up the park and he could be a threat for us.
Aye, he's probably better at the road, mate, causing less hassle in your box. And I get what you're saying as well. It would also take another defender, or sort of one of the attackers, out your box as well. So when they're putting the ball in, there's another less player. It makes total sense to me, mate. Just get him out the road and let the defenders do defending, and the midfielders obviously as well, and get him out the road, basically. I agree with you, mate.
I just think it's just wee things that we notice, Port, when we're at the game, and obviously the manager's got his reasons why he keeps him in the penalty box, but I just thought maybe somebody like his height, with his pace, would probably be better served up the park a bit in case we could get a counterfeit or the ball gets knocked out the box, That was just my thinking on it. The only other thing I probably look at that I would hope, I think we've got the free kick specialists. We've got Tav, and Borner was unlucky on Saturday, and we're still to see Lawrence probably hit a free kick. Seems to get overruled now, but I think set pieces as well, Port. I would like to see us try something for the outside the box if it's that wee bit far out for a shot, instead of just lumping it in. I'd like to see us try and work on a wee set piece or something. I've seen a couple of teams do it this season already. I've watched them, and see when it's come off, it's been absolutely brilliant,
I said that earlier on in regards to corners, mate. Variation doesn't harm anybody. And, whether it be, as you said, a wee free kick tactic outside the box, where you're not just throwing it in, you're maybe laying it, just simple laying it after Lawrence and letting Lawrence scud it, mate. Just something different. In swingers, out swingers, anything, mate. Just don't make it all same all the time, because that's what you become. You become predictable, and everybody knows what the corners are like. Whether it's all in swingers, right and tap the keeper, or it's out swingers, and the free kicks are always the same as well. And as you said, let somebody else have a wee pop. Lawrence has got great technique. I watched him, for Derby. He's excellent technique in free kicks, great technique in his striking ability as well. So, have some variation, mix it up, make the other team think. Don't become predictable. And I think that's what we're becoming in set pieces, mate. Making it easy for defences.
Can I just say on that? But forgive me. We've got three men in the team now that enjoy having a shot at goal. No, we've got lots of players that like having a shot at goal, but from a midfield, having a dig at goal, you've got Lundstrom, you've got Ryan Jack, and you've got the boy Lawrence. They are very good from having a shot from just outside the box, and all of them have scored goals. So there should be no shortage of if the chance is there, they should take it. I agree with everything they've said. This is something that we should be doing. It's been discussed at great length. We need people to have a shot from a 20-yard level, have a dig at goal. Problem is that by that time, whenever we're up there into the position, there's 10 defenders across the box, possibly across the goal line, and it's really difficult to get through. But we do have to have a shot, and we've scored a lot of goals from it.
I think you agree. I think we've got Tillman and Lawrence in the park, and obviously Ryan Kent. I would hope. It frustrates me, I know sometimes, Port. We watch the game of football, right? And for me, Ryan Kent, he's a winger, right? See when the ball is on the right-hand flank and we're putting the ball across the goal, how many times in football do you see most people miss it at the front post, or it somehow gets dropped round about the back post? He's never in there. And on the right-hand side, Scott Wright and whoever else has been there for a while has been guilty as well. Surely, as a winger, you've got to get yourself in at that back post, because 9 times out of 10 when you watch football, that ball normally lands there.
But look at Tav. Tav's a great example of that. Where does Tav get a lot of his goals for last season? At back stick, because he's gambling. And I mean, it's incredible, Tav, mate. Tav's got a striker's instinct. He just gambles, and he knows, I'm going for that back post, and I'm going to use all my power, all my pace, and I'm going to make sure I'm first on that ball. I totally agree with you, but I think guys like, Wright, Kent, they should be getting at least, and this is at least, mate, 9 or 10 goals a season between them, and probably maybe the same in assists, because the amount of chances that we touched on earlier on, the amount of chances Rangers create in a game, if these guys gamble at the back post, there's goals to be got, mate. There's definitely goals to be got, because it flashes along the box many a time during a game for us. Flashes not so much to the right side, because Tav's put a lot of his in at the back post, but certainly, as you said, in Kent's area, he needs to gamble, mate. Just be brave like Tav, and he might get the same sort of numbers as Tav gets, which would be great.
I believe that's the one thing, that he doesn't gamble, he doesn't get himself in the box, and I think if he did bridge, I think he would get a lot of reward at times, I just think that if you gamble and you go try and get into the back stick, a lot of the time the ball does come across the goal, and he should be there. Tav manages it for defence, but even if he's no Bridge, I still think Scott Wright or Matondo hopefully will start getting themselves in at the back post, and we'll start to see more goals coming for that, these sort of type of situations.
I have to agree with you, but I would say this on as far as Ryan Kent's concerned. Ryan Kent knows that no matter who he's playing against, there's going to be two, possibly three players with him. And if he takes them in, if he goes into the back post there, they're going to be with him again. So that's more people in the box. So sometimes he stays out of the box, or not out of the box, but away from the 6-yard box, and he's covered to a certain extent. I'm not saying they're tight, clutch tight, but they can be. And him then, if the ball comes through, don't know how much he's going to get them. But I do like the thought. If Kent was there on the corner of the 6-yard box, by the way, he is a marvellous finisher when it comes to it. Scored a lot of goals for us. But at the present moment, the way things are this season, they're man marking him, sometimes booting him out the pitch, But anyway.
No worries, I think we've been joined by Mark. How you doing, Mark? All right, pal?
How are you doing? Right?
Aye, good, pal. What do you want to say, mate?
Just about to start my 11 tomorrow. I'm wanting to go attacking, but I just don't know if he's going to do it. It's the midfield three. I think it's going to be vital. I think we're all certain that he's going to play Lundstrom.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he will. So who's the other two going to be is a big question.
Well, he Port, because he gave us the other two midfielders. Port.
All right, Mark, how you doing, mate? I think you'll play a two in front of the back four, and the two will be Jack and Lundstrom, and in front of them, I think you'll get Kent on the left, Tillman playing in behind Cholak, number 10, and you'll have Matondo on the right, mate, and obviously Cholak leading the front line. I think that's the safest way to go, mate. I really do.
So who did you have? You had Jack and Arfield? Lundstrom?
No, Jack and Lundstrom. Jack Lundstrom is a 2. So a 4-2-3-1. So they'll be sitting, and then your front four basically will be Kent on the left, Tillman, number 10, Matondo on right, and Cholak up front.
So you're leaving Lawrence out?
Aye. Against PSV, mate. Aye. Yep.
So that's the one for me, because I've got Lawrence in my team.
Wait, who's your team?
Well, I'm going McLaughlin, Tav, Golson, hopefully Davis, Barisic, Lundstrom. I'd love to go attacking. I'd love to go see this team, right? I'd love to go to the Piggery and play this Lundstrom, Tillman and Lawrence there. But the Mora, I don't think he'll do that. I think
he might do it, Mark.
I don't really know.
You don't know, mate.
I'm caught up between. I think Jack. I don't think Jack was fit. I seen him on Saturday. I don't think he's fit enough to start Jack. So I'm kind of.
Mark, do you think, Mark, do you think then, if you didn't think Jack was going to be fit, right, he played 90 minutes, his first 90 minutes in a long time, do you not think then he might be inclined to stick Kamara in there as a 2, rather than go, I know what you're wanting to go with. You could play Lawrence on the right and no play Matondo.
I would go with Kamara in there. I love Kamara. He never gets the ball away. I love him.
See, the thing is, we've got to go a bit tomorrow. We don't really need to go total gung-ho, because we could still play at a reasonable pace and still win the game. We all need to go subs and all, Mark. So I think if Lawrence is on the bench, he's coming on, Alfie's coming on, and that, we've got players that can change the game. Or else add to the score.
Aye, it's interesting. It's brilliant to have all these options into it for a few years ago. It's a great squad we've got now.
Well, we're all competing for places, mate.
See, if I was to be picky, right? I phoned up a couple of weeks ago. My only thing is, with our strikers, obviously, everybody moans about the goalkeeper situation, and I always try to mentor people about McCrory. We've trained this guy for how many years? he kept a clean sheet in an Old Firm game, but we're not going to give him a chance and just let him walk without giving him a chance. What's that about? But anyway, the striker situation, Roof, I love the guy. He's a better finisher than Morelos. Probably even, well, I don't know but how good Kovac. I like the look of Kovac, but yeah, I still want another striker.
I think Kovac is natural striker in the box. Mark, I'll go to Port quickly because we're just about to finish, mate. But I think we see that Kovac's a poacher and a penalty box striker, eh?
I would definitely get a fox in the box with Cholak, and early signs, Mark, are pretty good for me. Obviously, he's going to have alpha breathing down his neck. That's the way the squad is at the moment. I think you're seeing players, go into their games quick, and you're seeing, because they're getting pushed every day in training because they know there's somebody behind them. It's like Borna for me. I think maybe is Borna upped his game because his young Yilmaz is behind him and he's coming in and we've paid £6 million for him, so he's Borna raised the bar. That's the thing, we've got competition all over this squad, like you touched on, mate. And I think it's only good for Glasgow Rangers to have, two people in each position really pushing each other, because the only one people are going to benefit, and that's us as fans, is in a club, because if people pushing you, mate, you try your hardest every time.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right, Mark, I'll need to give you the last word, pal, because we're just about to finish for this evening. So you're looking forward to tomorrow and hopefully a Rangers winner.
Aye, I'm sitting in Enclosure tomorrow for the first time.
Great.
So
I'm sure the place will be bouncing,
hopefully. So
He's
just looking forward to it.
He's your score, Mark, before you go, mate.
2-0, big Kovac to get one of them.
Oh, love it, mate.
There you go. See, Port, he's a man that doesn't give the opposition a goal.
Actually, he's right. You're right there. He's a man. He sounds like a man that knows what he's talking about.
His name's Mark, of course he does.
Here you, old tonic. What are they going up for? Aye, Bridge is going to be in the enclosure. Right, Mark, I'd like to thank you, mate, for phoning in. I appreciate it, bud. Tomorrow.
Right, no worries, lads.
Right, Mark,
cheers,
thanks
mate.
Very much, pal.
Right, cheers, lads. Thank you.
Good call.
Well, Port, we've came to that time, buddy.
Aye, superb, Bridge. Great night, mate. Good discussions. Thanks very much for having us.
Aye, mate. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure to be on with yourself and Bridge. As always, Bridge, man.
Well, what can I say? What a fantastic night. And thank you, Port. And thank you yourself, big Southport. Really and truly. I've just loved it. Marvellous night. It's really enjoyable. Good discussion. Really good discussion. But the tactical side of the game, sometimes you get swamped in it. But seriously, can I just say to all the Rangers fans all over the world, particularly Rangers fans on Rangers Radio, this is the biggest game of the season for a long time. It's last season anyway, for a long time. So please, everybody, get into Ibrox, do your thing, and shout the team on and raise the roof, because we need it. Keep it going for the Rangers, because the Rangers really need us. Keep it going.
I would just like to thank Blue Star and Mark for phoning in this evening, and I'd also like to say again it was a pleasure to do the show with the two of you guys. I'd like to thank Old School Blue and Fox for doing the technicals. And the show will be back tomorrow, a pre-match show. I think it'll be on at 7:15 or 7 o'clock tomorrow night, where we lead up to the game, the biggest European game we've had in a long time to get into the Champions League. So come on, the Rangers, let's do this. Good night.
From Argyle, so young, to Glasgow City, they come, seeking fortune and a new way of life. How could they know ambitions would grow? Such a beautiful story, and here's how it goes. Four lads had a dream to start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. sweetest of all. For that's had our dream to start a football team. They had no money, no care, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers are gone. 55 titles, we're still going strong. To start a football team. They had no money, no kit, not even a ball. They still carried on. The Rangers are gone. 55 titles, we're still going strong. 55 titles, we're still going strong.